In the annals of moral cowardice and intellectual bankruptcy, one would be hard-pressed to find a more repugnant example than that of Elon Musk's recent foray into the murky waters of anti-Semitic discourse. It is a spectacle that reminds one of Hannah Arendt's observations on the banality of evil. The idea that great crimes can be committed by ordinary people who accept the premises of their state and therefore participate with the view that their actions are normal. Musk, whose name once evoked images of futuristic endeavors and revolutionary technologies, has descended into the squalid pit of historical ignorance and moral myopia. By parroting the vilest of anti-Semitic tropes, he stands shoulder to shoulder not with the visionaries and pioneers of our age, but with the despised figures of a dark and bloody past. His comments, casually endorsing a narrative that has been the catalyst for pogroms, persecutions, and the Holocaust, are not just a disgrace. They are an affront to the memory of millions who perished in the shadow of such hateful ideologies. It's as if Musk, in a fit of puerile contrarianism, has decided to dance on their graves, whistling the tunes of the Third Reich as he goes. To equate Musk's actions with mere ignorance would be too kind. This is not the errant musing of an uninformed mind, but appears to be a deliberate provocation, a nod and a wink to the most execrable elements of our society. It is the act of a man who, in his hubris, believes himself above the lessons of history, above the need for empathy and understanding. Let us be clear, anti-Semitism is not a relic of the past. It is a living, breathing poison that continues to infect societies, inciting violence and hatred. By lending his voice to such rhetoric, Musk does not merely engage in a philosophical dalliance. He fans the flames of a fire that has consumed lives and devastated communities. In this, he stands in opposition not just to the Jewish community, but to all who value human dignity and the principles of reason and justice. His actions are an affront to the very spirit of enlightenment and progress that he so fervently claims to champion. One might have hoped that a man of Musk's stature and intellect would stand as a bulwark against the tide of bigotry and ignorance. Instead, he has chosen to ride the crest of that wave, oblivious or indifferent to the wreckage in his wake. In his folly, Musk embodies the very antithesis of the values he purports to uphold. He has become an icon of regression, a champion of the basest instincts of humanity. It is a tragic fall from grace, not just for the man, but for the ideals he once seemed to represent. In the shadow of history's most heinous atrocities, one observes with a chilling sense of déjà vu, as Elon Musk cavalierly treads the same treacherous path that has been trodden by demagogues and tyrants over the last century. His recent pronouncements are not mere echoes of a bygone era of bigotry. They are the all-too-familiar preludes to the darkest chapters of human history. This is not merely the recycling of old prejudices. It is the rekindling of a fire that has, time and again, engulfed nations in the flames of hatred and violence. Musk's trajectory is alarmingly reminiscent of the early stages of what history has taught us invariably leads to catastrophe. His flirtation with anti-Semitic tropes is not an isolated aberration, but a stepping stone on a path that, if not veered away from, will inexorably lead to the advocacy of policies and actions that have historically culminated in ethnic cleansing and genocide. The pattern is unmistakable, and the progression tragically predictable. To ignore this progression is to be willfully blind to the lessons of history, to the repeated cycles of hate that have culminated in unspeakable horrors. The gravity of this situation cannot be overstated. Musk, with his immense influence and following, is not just another voice in the cacophony of social discourse. He is a bellwether, capable of swaying public opinion and shaping societal attitudes. As he teeters on the brink of outright championing genocidal ideologies, the responsibility falls upon us, the observers and participants in this unfolding drama, to recognize the perilous road down which he is heading. We must understand that what begins with insidious rhetoric can rapidly escalate into action, into policies that target and persecute, and ultimately into the systematic destruction of lives and cultures. The world has witnessed this tragic progression before. We cannot afford to witness it again with complacency.